Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're ready to conclude our Targetmaster Hero Month with the last and possibly one of the rarest of the toys to find in the Generation 1 line. We're talking about the Decepticon Tracker, Scourge. Now this version of Scourge was released in 1987, and he would only be available in 1987. He would be discontinued in 1988, compared to the original that was released a year beforehand. Of course, many of you are going to point out the sticker differences. That's because neither of these were in my collection as a child, so whoever owned this one over here got a little wonky with the stickers. But seeing as this one is a super rare first edition version of the toy, I'm not going to argue with it. Nor am I going to try to track down a better set of stickers and change him up a little. Maybe I'll do that if I get lucky. But at any point, let's have a look at them side by side here. And as you can see, they are more or less the same. The only real difference is, and it's probably not showing up very well on camera, is the colors of their wings. Let's turn them around and bring them up close here. The original wings on here are in kind of a light grayish color, but the Targetmaster versions are a little more of a bluish gray. So that's something to also watch out for. Plus there is some of the detail here on their sides, but that'll be better explained when they're in their vehicle mode. And of course, also the other thing to point out, once I adjust his arm, is the difference on their fists. We'll bring them up close again so you can take a look side by side. One here on the left is the original. As you can see, he has a very small hole in his fist. Well, here the Targetmaster has a larger hole in his fist. As I had stated in an earlier video, Scourge really didn't need much retooling on it for his alternate mode, as this is the same size post as what's used for his disruptor cannon on his head, so many fans apparently like to do that. And then Scourge now has double weapons, whereas on the original he can't store that in his hand, so I always leave it in his head, since that's how he was in the cartoon. So again, when he's in your house, you can do with him as you please. Articulation-wise, Scourge has the same articulation. The arm can be rotated at the shoulder. It can go all the way back against his wings, or go in just a little bit like that. He does have a joint at the elbow, so it does allow you to bend his elbow to a 90-degree angle. And that's more or less it. You can bend his ankles out like so. But that's all you can really do with him. Okay, to transform Scourge, first of all, we're going to remove his gun. We can keep the piece here on his head. It won't get in the way, but that's up to you, folks. Of course, first we got to get his arms straight down. Fold down this little panel here on his chest. Then fold his head down. Close the panel up so they're all together. Take the wings at his side and just fold them back over his body, like so. This piece here on his back, we're going to move it so that it's pointing straight up. And then push his wings together, close it all up. And then fold his feet down, and then rotate pieces around so that they come like this. And you're going to twist it so that the feet will now point into the sides of the body. Snap his legs together and kind of push them inward. Don't snap them together until you got the legs inward a bit. And then there you have it. He's in his alternate mode, a hovercraft. Of course, also, if you'd prefer, you can remove the disruptor and instead mount his gun. Now, of course, how does this compare to the original? Immediately, it becomes apparent there is some major differences going on here. On the original, this section right here, this blue section back here, this is all raised plastic. Whereas on this section here, it's a sticker. This raised plastic is all painted blue, whereas it's changed here to just be a sticker, and it ignores this section back here in the back. Again, that was supposedly done as a cost-saving measure. There are some rumors abound that this one here, the original, was changed at some point during the line. I'm not exactly sure if that's true or not. I have yet to see one like that. I think since he was only available for 1 year, they just did the retooling for him as a Targetmaster. So, hard to say, but it is interesting to see how different he does look. Roll him aside here, and how well does Scourge roll since he's on some very tiny wheels here at the bottom? How well does he roll on the table? Not too good. About adequate for being on such little tiny wheels. But of course, as he's meant to be some sort of flying hovercraft or something, he does swoosh kind of good. This mode doesn't look that great with it, but it works. Okay, moving right along to the loose parts. We're going to start with the disruptor cannon, so that you can all get a look at it. It is simply a piece of blue plastic. If somebody did the stickers right, there should be a red sticker in there. And of course, this makes me want to point out what was mentioned in the original Scourge's video, that the original disruptor cannon, the rear tip of it could be easily removed. Like it was intended to be a missile or something. And obviously the Consumer Product Safety Commission would want that removed, because this could easily be swallowed by a child. On this newer version, you cannot remove it at all. But of course, the original one will still fit perfectly onto a Targetmaster version of Scourge with no trouble. See how they interchange just like that? So definitely if you buy a Targetmaster version of Scourge, you'll definitely want to check that out. Make sure the back end of the disruptor does not come out. Then of course, now we have his Targetmaster partner. This is Fracas. And like all the others that have been seen here, he bends at the hip. Fold his legs all the way up like that, and he becomes the gun. Not much to look at, but that's the way it is with these large Targetmaster weapons. Okay, folks, before it starts storming outside, So we're starting to hear some thunder. Let's try to see if we can get through this review. Alright, next up, we're going to take a look at Scourge's instructions. And of course, like we've done all month, compare them side by side with the original. As you can see, there is a considerable difference on them. The Targetmaster one is predominantly dark purple and white, whereas the original was light purple and gray. Of course, like what we've shown all month long here, there's the difference to the tagline. The original 1986 one says more than meets the eye. The 1987 Targetmaster is more, ellipses, much more than meets the eye. Then, of course, down here at the bottom, we got the same difference in size in the text, but there's also a slight change on this one. The original version says Evil Decepticon Scourge, whereas the Targetmaster simply says Decepticon Scourge. So, quite a considerable difference. And of course, as you will also see, the most obvious and easy way to tell the difference is the guns. But, you know, of everything else, should make it easy to find. That's a challenge. I should point out that I had mentioned earlier about the rarity of Scourge. Targetmaster Scourge was packaged 1 to a case. There were 11 Targetmasters of this size available in 1987. The Decepticons had 5, the Autobots had 6. So Scourge would only be in a box once when being shipped out. So that makes him somewhat on the rare side. But at any rate, we're going to take a look at his instructions here. And of course, they label his disruptor as a rocket booster. Show here how to put fracas on. And show you here you can use the rocket booster or fracas on top of his head like that. And then go into how to transform him from hovercraft into robot. And apparently, according to the instructions here, if you put the rocket booster in his hand, you now have an impact blaster. And of course, put stickers on. And of course, the usual stuff at the end. Rub sign, collect your robot points, and read the tech specs. And as luck would have it, we do have the tech spec for him. Of course, the originals is on the box. For those of you who were around for that video, I did manage to track down the tech spec and the instructions, so it can be done given his rarity. And here's the surprising part. As you can see here, it is exactly the same size, but of course, the box sizes are different on the Decepticon planes. The boxes were bigger than the Autobot car counterparts, so that helps on that. Now to take a look at the differences, once again, you can see the sunburst is different. It's just a plain sunburst on the 86 version. The 87 Targetmaster uses a digital one. The Targetmaster figure is also in a darker shade of colors than the original. And of course, you will also notice the gun, the text at the top, and the function is in a different font as it's bolded. We'll take a look here at his stats. It's done in purple to show he's a Decepticon, even lists him as a Decepticon. It gives his name as Scourge, and his function this time is Tracker. Whereas here on the original box, you can see the function originally was Sweep Leader. This was probably changed due to the fact that there were no generic sweeps available. So, nice to see that they did that. It would have been nice if they did the same with Wreck-Gar, too. And his motto is listed as, "Desolation follows in my trail." That part isn't changed. Merciless, fearsome. Only his extreme hatred of Autobots prevents him from attacking his Nebulan allies. The Nebulon is a high-temperature incendiary cannon with a volatile temper to match. You notice in here it lists Fracas as the Nebulon. Obviously, they must not have had a name picked for him at the time they wrote this, and they never changed it. In vehicle mode, Scourge is a hunter-destroyer, land-scouring vehicle, equipped with optical and heat sensors for detecting and eliminating enemies. Maximum speed, 260 miles an hour. Now, while it's interesting how they do this, the bio's pretty boring. Doesn't really go much into it, except saying that Scourge hates his Nebulan allies, but he hates the Autobots more. But it really doesn't give anything about Scourge himself. Now we'll take a look at his stats. It lists his strength as 7, his intelligence is 9, his speed is 6, as is his endurance. His rank is 8, as well as his courage, as well as 8. And his firepower and skill are both 7s, which are somewhat different from the originals. His skill went down a little. His skill and firepower went down a bit, as did his courage and rank. Nope, they're the same. His speed dropped a little bit. Strength went down a little bit. His intelligence went up a little bit. So Scourge kind of benefits a little bit from the change. But if nothing else, it also makes his stats different from Cyclonus. Because when they were originally released, Cyclonus and Scourge had the exact same stats. So kind of defeated their purpose. Now we get down to my final thoughts. What do I think of the Targetmaster version of Scourge? It's an okay toy. In reality, it's not much of an improvement over the original. I mean, I never thought much of the dual gun wielding option. So I'm kind of on the fence about that being a new option for the Targetmaster version. I mean, I know some of you out there, you love being able to do that with him, and that's cool. I'm not going to argue with you on that. It's just, this is my channel, this is my opinion, and in my opinion, I really didn't have much of a use for it as a kid or as an adult collector. So that's kind of an on-the-fence issue that I'm willing to put aside. The different color scheme, it kind of works. I like the original one better, more so just due to the plainness of it. It worked. It was a little more chilling. The light replacing most of the gray with a grayish blue, it just enhances things a little, but it's not really enough to make it grab at you, you know? As for the change on the bio and such, I don't think it really did much good. The change in the bio really doesn't tell you anything new. About the only change that it does that works is giving him his proper function as a tracker. Even Unicron described Scourge as a tracker. So having him with that as his function instead of Sweep Leader is a nice improvement, especially since Hasbro did not give us a generic sweep, and that was a missed opportunity on Hasbro's part. So all in all, I think that this version of the toy is a middle tier toy in all realities. He's certainly, in some respects, he's better than the original, but that's only if you like the changes. But as I also warned you earlier in this video, he was a one to a case transformer, so he's going to be rather difficult to track down. Because I will admit to you folks, I have been years tracking down everything for him. I got lucky finding the toy all in one piece, but he did set me back quite a bit, and to this day I do feel I was overcharged for him. And it took a lot of searching on eBay to find the instructions and the tech spec. And I had to look over each and every one of them very carefully to find the differences, so I knew I was buying the one I needed. That's part of the reason why this month I myself have done this for all of you. I do certainly hope it was appreciated by all of you collectors out there. But getting back to Scourge, I'm going to leave him in the middle tier, because the change, while it may be somewhat good, it really isn't enough to make it a good sell. So we'll go with the middle tier, simply because also Scourge is too good of a character to put in the bottom tier. And that concludes my review of the Targetmaster version of the Decepticon Tracker Scourge. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up here on YouTube. Don't forget as well, hit that subscribe button down below and join up in our ranks. Please also think about sharing this video with your friends and leaving your own thoughts of Scourge and Targetmaster Month in general in the comments section down below. It's raining outside here, folks, so somebody's doing some thinking. This is Sparkster1701 saying I thank all of you for joining me for Targetmaster Hero Month, and I will catch you all later.